So for folks who have been following the university videos, specifically the Bravo videos, we have Skinny Buff Guy with us. It's William. He's a recent graduate of Bravo University. Thanks for joining, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you want to type to us a question, again, use the show chat button in the top right of your screen, and that is going to show the text to both William and I, and he's going to take the opportunity to save your questions. Ideally, you are going to use a hashtag Q. So let me type that in for you so you have an example. Just like you see Chris request during the live streams in the afternoons and mornings, if you could type hashtag Q before your question, it really helps us pick those out and be able to respond to them later. Question, is this going to be recorded? Yeah. Yep, it's being recorded right now. And it will be posted to our training channel. The training channel is Outlier Training with Joe on YouTube. Now, all these Launchpad videos are saved in this playlist. Let me click on playlist for you. This is the landing screen, but you want to click playlists. And it's the O3 Outlier Training playlist that you'd want to refer back to. If you click on that, you'll see a couple of sessions of the Launchpad have already been held and posted. So that's where you'd want to go check into if you missed this session, or if you want to refer back to it. Another set of videos here that would be interesting to you while you're here in this playlist is lots of folks ask about the screener. We have a video right here focused on the screener. Remember, that's the outlier tool that you would use after you have decided that the market and the sectors are giving you signs to get in, and then you can go in and find some stocks that may fit your criteria. Folks that want to know about setting up charts, we have a great video here, setting up your outlier charts like the pros. It's a good one to get into. If you want to know about rolling, we have a rolling video here. Rolling's a ninja hack. Now, if you're new to Outlier, you're probably trying to learn an awful lot of terms. It's almost like learning a second language, right? So rolling may not be where you want to start your journey, but it is a ninja hack, and it's where you make a whack of money, let's say. I've personally been successful with rolling, but there's lots to learn before you get to that point. If you want to see Chris trading stocks specifically, this video right here is great. This is a reaction video where Chris is going through pretty quickly his trading plan, and he's so good at it that he sometimes forgets to tell us things. And so I paused the video and I kind of explained what it is he's doing and why he's doing it. Unfortunately, the audio has some echoing, which is kind of annoying, but we'll do another one of those in the future. Okay. Again, that is in the O3 Outlier Training playlist. And reminder, the question was, is this being recorded? And yes, it is. And it will be posted in this playlist just here. All right. Another place that you would want to go to get videos that you can watch at your leisure and pause and, skip through whatever you're interested in is this Outlier How-To Guides playlist. So you'd go to YouTube and you'd go to Outlier Training with Joe, and then you would find the playlist button. So from this landing page, you'd go to playlists and you'd click on Outlier How-To Guides. This is a really active playlist that we're putting a ton of effort into. We've added everything from how you access the user guide, get into Discord, how you access training videos into the actual application. In this case, video 5 is how you get into the dashboard and how you add stocks to your wish list, or how you remove stocks from your wish list. See, Carol W has concerns that all she hears is music. Okay, DT, maybe you can type to Carol in the chat how to troubleshoot that. I'm not sure. So Carol will try to get you help with that. Back to this playlist where we also just released going through the charting in the dashboard and what the visual icons mean. So let's have a look at those visual icons real quick. In our user guide here on the right, you get step-by-step walkthroughs of the software. And those visual icons that I'm mentioning in that video are these right here. We get a lot of questions about those icons. And if you remember to get into the user guide, you get specific responses to what each of those are, right? And if you're not really into reading, like user guides and workbooks, the way you get your answer is right here in this video, Dashboard Charting Overview of Visual Icons. Okay, Carol, have a look at the chat, and DT has mentioned that you have the opportunity to turn the music off with the mute button. Awesome. Okay, well, oh, she's still having issues, so let's give her an opportunity to work through that. All right, I'll tell you, I don't watch the charts every day. And while we wait for Carol to be able to hear us, let's have a look at the chart real quick. You see Chris using TradingView because it's a great charting platform. Outlier is where you get your signals, and TradingView is where he looks at the chart. And I saw an interesting thing today. This is SPY, so I've typed SPY right up here. And we have a green candle on SPY, but the price is lower today than it was yesterday. But look at this yellow line right here. That yellow line is the 200-day simple moving average. So I'd be interested to see at the end of the day, does it cross above that or does it continue to go down? That's kind of an indicator. People like Steve Burns who have put out some videos and books about moving average indicators. It's something to watch for. So over the last 200 days, this would be the average price, and we're currently below it, but it is rising. So does it cross over that today? Yeah, Stocky Locky mentioned Mark Minervini, too, has interest in the 200. So again, while we're waiting for Carol and Barry to get the video working, let's talk a little more about that moving average topic. We very recently put up a video talking about moving averages. It's right here. 5 stock price moving average strategies beating buy and hold. And in this video, you see Chris talk about the Steve Burns book. And in there, it compares 5 different moving average strategies. I found this pretty interesting. And Chris goes in and he talks about his opinion on those and why he picked the moving averages that he did. So great video to go check out. I see we have a couple of folks still having the audio issues. We got a question here. Will this be in Discord also or only in YouTube? This video will be recorded and stored in YouTube. It'll be in Outlier Training with Joe, under playlists, under O3 Outlier Training. So if you click in this playlist, you are going to find the video posted here. Usually YouTube is a day late. They do some scrubbing basically to make sure that you're not posting copyrighted content and things of that nature. So probably tomorrow you'll see 003 and there'll be a fancy title, and it'll be session 3 of Ovtlyr Launchpad. All right, we're 15 minutes out. Let's go ahead and get started. So new customers would have received a welcome email. And if you didn't, go ahead and mention to us here in the chat. I'd be grateful to know that. Want to make sure this gets out to everybody. One of the first things it starts out with is pointing you to the bottom right of Outlier. Now, you know how to get to the Ovtlyr.com webpage because you signed up, right? If you click the My Account button, it's going to bring up the dashboard. So this is the most common screen you see Chris use in the live videos. And it's pointing to the bottom right of the screen, right? It's specifically pointing to this gear icon. And then it's pointing to documentation. Documentation is this window right here. This is the user guide. This is the guide that you would want to have open as you're trying to learn the software, because you're going to have a lot of questions like, what is this section? What is the outlier 9? And what do these colors mean? Or what do these colors in the background of the chart mean? Like when it's red, Chris would tell me that we're in a downtrend. How do I prove it? I'm looking at these lines right here. The 10, which is blue, being under the black, which is the 20, and the price, which is way down here, being under the 50, that red line. But you're going to want to know what those mean. What are those EMAs? Like what caused this line to be where it is? And it's an exponential moving average. Well, we have videos that go into that, specifically the Outlier University videos. So again, Outlier Training with Joe. The Alpha University playlist is the first university that was ever held. It was maybe about a year ago now. And then the follow-on university, Bravo, those videos are right here. So go ahead and check those out. You're going to get answers to all your questions. And the other thing you're going to get is you're going to see how the plans changed over time. And that's going to help you understand as you're trading your plan and you're seeing things like the light bulb goes off and you're like, man, I see a pattern here. Or I heard about this new signal and I want to check it out and I want to test it. You're going to find out that that's perfectly okay to do. Not only is it okay, that's what the pros do. And you're literally going to see Chris update his plan as he finds another point to his edge. As he finds a new signal or a change to an existing signal that gives him a higher probability of success. So great videos. I would watch the Alpha and then I would watch the Bravo videos, and just to really beat that piece home that there's no perfect plan and there's no one way to trade. All right. And the user guide, right? So again, as you're following through this user guide, you're going to get answers to a lot of your questions. And you're also going to know where to go find it in the future when you don't remember what on earth is a green plus R. Well, a green plus R means we've got a positive signal return. Okay. And sometimes I get these errors where the image doesn't load. I just refresh. So I'll just type up there and hit enter. We got a question in chat from Murph Dog. Murph Dog, I see you're a brand new customer. Thanks for making it. This is awesome. What do the Alpha and Bravo universities cover? They cover everything. I was in the Alpha University class, and I can tell you it covers everything. Everything from what on earth is a stock, right? So let's click on video number 1 and get a sense of what is in here. All the videos have thumbnails. If you click the description, you will see literally what's in here. What is money? What is a company? What is a stock and why would you buy it? Interesting topics like leverage and options versus buying shares of stocks, right? So every one of these videos, if you
long stocks, and then
if you go into the video, into the description, you will see what is inside that video. And then the same comment can be said for the Bravo videos. Well, for all the videos, honestly. If there's a video in any of these playlists, they all have been indexed. But with Bravo, you start out with similar concepts, like right from the ground floor. What is a stock? All the way to how to actually choose an options contract. The thing people overlook, though, is the human side of it. If you don't have a plan that you can strictly follow the signals on, it's really hard to go back and back test it, and it's really hard to improve it, right? You have to have control over the emotional side of trading. And so in these videos, Chris talks about the psychology of trading, and he gives you examples of what happens if you don't follow your plan. Like, for instance, if you get into a trade and it immediately goes against you, a salty dog and I, who's Brad, can tell you that that hurts. Oh, it's awful. You do not want the price of your stock to go against you as soon as you hit the buy button. Well, you have to have a signal to tell you to get out. And once that signal comes, you have to take it. If you're not taking it, then you're not following your plan. And if you're not following your plan, do you have a plan? So it's another reason why I would recommend going through both of the Alpha and Bravo playlists, because Chris has a message that he's presenting in two different ways. And the audience, who is mostly the students, ask questions in a little different way because everybody thinks a little bit differently. The other advantage to making sure you watch both is you get to see multiple trading plans. I know like Charlotte and Skinny Buff Guy and Stocky Locky and those guys all in Bravo, they showed us their plan. How cool is that, right? You get to see how those folks were trading before they followed Chris's educational platform. And you get to see Chris actually learn from the students. He makes a change to his trading plan based on some commentary that the students brought to the table. And to me, that's really cool. Again, it just shows a professional trader is always looking for that edge, and they're going to take that edge as soon as the opportunity presents itself and backtesting says it's a move they should make. And one final thing about Bravo. I was really jealous of you, William. You come off mute for this one. I was really jealous of you guys that you got to meet a market maker. We heard all about market makers, right? But it was a concept. It was almost like, a cloud in the sky sort of concept about a market maker, at least for me. Is that how it was for you when you heard about market makers?
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. It was nice because it was just different content. You get to kind of see trading from a different viewpoint, right? So instead of being the trader, you're the market, and you can kind of see, his opinion on how you approach options, especially. It was very interesting to see how Chris asked him about selling options specifically, which is a strategy Chris used to follow back in the day, which didn't really pan out so well for him. And he'll be pretty transparent and tell you that before he switched over to buying options. So I found that very interesting that Les was able to kind of open our eyes that as retail traders, selling is much more difficult.
Yeah,
But that's definitely a video worth watching.
For sure, for sure. So this would be Bravo U18, learn from a stock market maker. And just as William mentioned, right, we are the retail side. None of us have the giant accounts the institutions have, right? So we're not necessarily moving the needle. But this fella, Lex, who is from Tradier, which is the broker platform that Chris uses to make the trades, he came and he talked to us about his side of the world, right? Actually making the contracts that we in turn decide to get into or not get into. So definitely a great video. And like I said, I was jealous of all you students in Bravo where you got to meet him. That was really cool. All right, I'm not seeing a ton of audio issues. I mean, it's being recorded, right? So you can always go back and watch it later anyway. So you're not necessarily going to be missing out if you can't hear what I'm saying. So we talked about the platform, we talked about the dashboard, and I let you know that we're doing step-by-step videos on how to use the platform. So we've done the dashboard videos and they're being released daily this week. There's market breadth videos that are coming out as well. Let's talk about where you get resources in Discord. Let me bring over Discord here. All right, so this is Discord. Okay, one of the first questions everyone asks inside the training room chat channel or inside the general channel is, where do I get the indicators, or where do I get the user guide? The place you get that is in FAQ and member contributions. So you're just going to look for the channel called FAQ and member contributions. And there's a host of information in here. You have the slide deck right here. This is the same slide deck that Chris uses during his live streams. You have the user guide. So this is just another way to get to the user guide. Remember that I showed you how to get to the user guide just here using this settings button. The settings button and documentation. That's another way to get to the user guide. The portfolio plan manager, that's that Excel sheet that helps with position sizing and helps you record trades. You can get to that here in FAQ and member contributions. You can also access that in any video created in 2026 inside the description of those videos. So if we just pop open the video we were just speaking about.
This is Lex.
With Lex. We go to the description. That slide deck and Google Sheet are both right here. So as you know, Chris doesn't hide anything. All his trades are right on YouTube for you to see and for you to analyze later. You can access all that data right here in any video 2026 or later. Let's see. We also have the Thinkorswim indicator from Dave. Dave is a Alpha University graduate. You see him in the training chat. You also will see him very soon, just in a few days now. Dave and I are going to be meeting. We're going to do another video focused on Thinkorswim. And if you're a Thinkorswim user, this is a great place for you to go. So he has his indicator listed in here. And if you want to follow along with videos on the Thinkorswim topic, you just hop over to Outlier Training, the playlist, and then you're just going to look for videos that mention Thinkorswim, like this one, Outlier Core Trading with Thinkorswim and TradingView. So this is kind of a unique one because I'm essentially mirroring what Dave is doing as he's showing it, sort of. I'm setting up the TradingView charts while he's setting up the Thinkorswim charts. It kind of gives you an indication of how both of those relate. Okay, TradingView. A lot of effort has been put into TradingView, much like I just mentioned with Dave. DeepThought, our resident tech genius and Alpha graduate, has put a lot of work into indicators for TradingView. Now, TradingView is for charting, Outlier is for signals, and then your broker is used to actually make the trades. So, charting. You'd want to go to FAQ and member contributions and TradingView if you want to follow along with Chris on the charts. And then you're going to find there's a lot of capabilities to TradingView for free. You can choose to pay for it. You get some extra features, but you can use it for free. A lot of folks use it for free. So there is tutorials about using TradingView as published here to us by DeepThought. And there's a third one actually right there. Now the indicators. The first indicator you get to related to Thinkorswim is the value zone. Let's have a look at that value zone. It's what you commonly see Chris use when trading plan ETF. So I'm just going to show the value zone here, Outlier Value Zone. I'm going to click the show button, and it's going to give this set of colored lines and then green bands in between. We're not going to go specifically into details on that. We have videos on that. Let me pop over and show you one of those. Set up your charts like the pros. This video explains the value zone, tells you how to set it up, tells you what each of the settings are and why they would be what they are. So Outlier Value Zone is the first indicator you see from DeepThought in Discord. Once you click on this, let's see what happens. It's going to bring up TradingView, and you're going to get this button that says Add to Favorites. Now, again, if you watch that video, it's going to show you clicking the Add to Favorites button and then clicking the Use on Chart button. And then it's going to pop up in your chart, and it's going to look like this. All right. Let's see. Back to Discord. The next indicator you're going to be interested in if you are a TradingView user is the official 4.2 indicator. This, again, created by DeepThought. This is the indicator that shows us order blocks. So I'm going to show that indicator just here with this eyeball. And it's going to show us, in this case, for SPY, there's an order block right here. So it's going to put up these blue shaded blocks. And the idea is when the price gradually increases, it's potentially going to hit this area and be rejected, and then hit it and be rejected until it goes over that order block when Chris would be interested in trading it, because there's no one above it trying to sell it. So how did you get that? You were in Discord. This is the only way you get it. You can't search TradingView for this. The only way you get this is by clicking this link. So let's have a look. As soon as you pop it open, again, this button is going to say add to favorites, and then you're going to hit use on chart. Piece of cake. And again, as an Ovtlyr customer, you get that for free, and no one else does.
Bill, we do have a question on that from earlier on DeepThought's indicator.
Okay, awesome.
Can I read this out to you?
Yeah.
Siamak asked, on the DeepThought indicator, do the ATR lines for the exit, rolling, etc., remain on the chart if I return the next day? I can answer that if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So there are ATR lines. If you click the DeepThought settings, Joe, can you do that for me just so we can take a quick look?
I will, yeah.
Appreciate it. So there are some different options. You can highlight these, you can unselect or select them, and then you can change your settings for your EMAs and whatnot. There are ATR lines that are going to be drawn on here. You can have the DeepThought indicator essentially lay those lines on your chart for you. These are dynamic though, based on the current price. So they will move when the price moves. So if you're expecting to lay those on there and have your rolling points already populated for you, and then you come back the next day, those rolling points may not be in the spot that they were the day before. So you're going to want to use those lines to draw in your own lines, since these are not permanent fixtures. There are other indicators for drawing lines on here. On the left-hand side of the chart, there are options to draw lines. You can just put those right over where the DeepThought indicator lays them out for you, and then they will become fixed lines on there. It's not a bad idea to create a template of your own to do that.
Okay, so absolutely. Great points. And now, if you want to see a video on how to do that, again, set up your Ovtlyr charts like the pros. This is the video you want to see. You're going to find myself and DT showing you the DeepThought indicator and showing you those lines, just as William mentioned. And we're talking about why they disappear and how you add them in. How do you actually draw them in? Just like you see Chris do in the live stream session. So watch that video. Excellent content. We go through it, you know, nice paced, and you can pause it and look back at any time. Thanks, William. Awesome. And I see Simac is typing. Let's see if we answered that question. Awesome. So the drawings will be there next time. The drawings will only be there next time if you draw them in. So I guess let's go ahead and do it real quick. So if we go to the DeepThought indicator and we show current plan markup, it's going to draw lines, right? You're going to see them show up right here. And those are going to be based on the price right now and the ATR right now. If you don't have the ATR indicator, again, that same video, show chart, set up your charts like the pro. It tells you all about the indicator and how to add it. The ATR indicator is available to everybody. You don't have to be a customer. We didn't write it. Okay. So Chris would say, all right, I'm going to buy right here because his signal said I'm going to get in. Now, don't do that, right? Chris would not do that. The trend is down. Chris would not buy today, but let's pretend so that we could put some lines on the chart. Let's pretend, right? So he's going to buy. He's going to show the current markup template, and these lines are going to appear. And so now he wants to mark where these lines are so he can use them for future reference. You can hop over here to add a line. You can add a trend line or a ray or a horizontal line. I personally prefer a ray. The reason I prefer a ray is because no, it's trend line I like. Sorry. I prefer a trend line because it doesn't go on forever. But you see folks use a ray. Let's just stick one there. We actually start with a vertical line first. So I just click the vertical line. You can get that here. If you don't have the shortcut, you can get it right here, vertical line, right? So click this button, vertical line. You would click on today's candle, and then now you're going to start putting these lines here. So you could go to a ray, for instance, and you could click just here, and that's going to put a line. And so let's show you what that looks like. If we hide the indicator, the only line that exists in a horizontal fashion is the one that I made. And of course, that's important because all these lines here were created by the DeepThought indicator, and they were based on the price the moment that you showed them. But the price is changing, right? If we zoom in here, we can see that the position of the line would have already changed because the price is changing. So you need to draw these in over top of the ones that are there for all the lines at the moment that you purchased them. Now, if you forget to do that, which super easy to do, what you can do is the ATR calculation itself. So you would have this ATR indicator open. You would know what price you bought it at because you looked at your broker statement. You went to your broker webpage, and it told you I bought at 656.56. And so you would put a line here, and you would say, let's put it way down here so we can illustrate the point. You could click here and go to settings, and you could say, I bought this at 656.56, I think is what it was, and hit OK. That'll put the line where it is meant to be. And now if you forgot to put in, let's see, the roll point 2. Okay, you know the price is 656.56. You can get out your calculator and you could go 656.56 plus 2 times the ATR on the day you bought it. And if you look right here, you're going to find that the ATR on the day you bought it was $9.06. So you're going to add $18.12 to 656.56, and you're going to end up putting that line about here, somewhere around $675. So that's how you do it in the exact moment that you buy it, or in the moment that you realize you forgot and you need to go back and fix it. So let's see. Do we have any other questions? CIMAC, does that help you? And again, I went through it pretty quickly, so you should go check out this video because we go through it slowly, and you can pause it and you can rewind and all those sorts of things. Yep. And like I said, I personally don't prefer the rays, right? Because they just go and go and go and go and go. So what I like to do is use a trend line. Let me show you how you have to behave when you're using a trend line, though. If you set this, it doesn't stay horizontal. It goes anywhere you want. So if you hold the shift key, it stays horizontal. That's the only trick. Just hold the shift key, click again, and now this line only exists in the length that you told it to be. And then you can go in and you can make your adjustments. So 656.56 is the price I paid. And I just typed that in twice, 656.56. That's the price I paid. There you go. Now I have a trend line that is not going on forever. And now I can delete this line that I really don't care the visual of, which is a ray. And now I just have that green line. So every time I make lines personally, I'm using a trend line. Yeah, CA Society, you want to know how to get the DeepThought indicator from Discord again? Yep, absolutely. So let's say you weren't in this session and you didn't want to ask and you just wanted to go find it yourself. How would you do it? Either of these two Launchpad videos will show you. Also, the first steps video, this one will show you. And also this video that you're in right now, that's going to show up in the same playlist. So there's going to be a 003 and a session 3. It's going to be stuck right here. And you'll be able to watch it again. But for the sake of right now, how do you get that? Well, you're going to go to the repository where all of our resources are. That's the FAQ and member contributions channel. And then you're going to look for TradingView because you asked about the DeepThought indicator. You're going to go to TradingView and you're going to click on that. And then you're going to watch the first few videos to learn more about TradingView. All these are tutorials. The next indicator you find is Value Zone. And the last indicator you find is the 4.2 indicator. This is the one that shows you the order blocks. This is the one used for plan ETF. Now, I think that there's more potential here for this one, this Value Zone. I think you don't necessarily only need to use it for the ETFs that you see Chris trade. I think it's a really valuable indicator, and I think there's more to come for that. So any of you back testers out there, I think this has some good potential. William, do we have any other questions?
Just a few people were asking about Alpha and Bravo class. There was a question from Stocky Locky, one of my fellow Bravo alum, who asked, what was your favorite session when you were in Outlier University? Do you want to answer that? Do you have a favorite session?
I'll start with the Bravo one. I wasn't a student, but I was definitely a participant in the chats. And I loved watching all you folks grow. And I loved that you brought your trading plans and explained them, and Chris got to comment on them. But then the fact that we got to learn from a market maker, that was huge. That was so huge. And so those are my takeaways from Bravo. For myself from Alpha, what I learned was it's not really about the numbers. Like, you can set up a plan about the numbers and you might be successful or you might not, right? Even if the plan shows it's going to be successful, it doesn't guarantee it's going to be, right? Because there's a person running that mouse, and there's a person with things that happen that day in their life, or things that they're worried about happening next month, or things that happened yesterday. And that person has emotion. And so as a student in Outlier University, I really tried to pay attention to the emotional side, the psychology side, because every time you hear a professional trader talk, what they say is they trade their plan. They do not trade because their stomach told them to, or because their heart told them to, or because their neighbor told them to. They trade their plan. And if they're not trading their plan, do they have a plan, right? So that stuff was really important to me. And we have videos calling out psychology. Also, the risk management stuff and position sizing. Before I was an outlier, I would be like, I don't know, it's probably worth $1,000 for Tesla today. No real reason. It's just, I don't know, $1,000, right? $1,000 is a lot of money, so let's throw it. The reality is you need to be trading with volatility in mind. So volatility is encompassed here by ATR. That's why we have that indicator open and why it's part of the signals. And so you're going to trade a smaller position with high volatility, a larger position with low volatility. And so learning about that was really important for my success. It's almost as important as the emotional side of trading. So how about you, William? What is your takeaway from Bravo, and which one do you find the most value in?
It's tough to say a class, but I do like how you touched on the risk management there, because I was the same way. I would just take a small amount of my portfolio and I would buy individual stocks and I would say, oh yeah, Tesla, okay, sure, this or that. Where do I get out? Where do I get in? How much do I buy? Oh, cool, it went up 50%. Well, I made a couple $100 because I really didn't have the gut to go bigger. Outlier, the platform itself is fantastic. It's kind of what gets us started. But the buy and the sell signals through Outlier really aren't all it is. There's so much more. This whole Alpha and Bravo class, the daily live streams, the trading room, all of it teaches you through repetition over and over how to actually build a trading plan, how to risk manage your portfolio, how to know how much to go in with, because you need to be worried about how much you're going to lose more than how much are you going to make. And that's really important, because when you take a trade and you don't know what your trade size should be, sometimes you kick yourself if you don't go big enough on the winners, but you also don't want to go too big in that the losers will destroy your account. So learning the actual formula based on your risk percentage that you're willing to take really just makes it black and white. You don't have to go by feel. You don't have to say, boy, I hope this goes up. I'm going to go a little bigger because I think this one's going to go up. The last one I didn't have a conviction on. This one I do. We don't really know what's going to happen on those trades. So being consistent and managing your portfolio with a proper risk management protocol, that's really what I got the most out of.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, you mentioned formulas. Now, how could I figure out what formulas Chris is using? I could go to FAQ and member contributions, and I can look for the trading plans. Let's go ahead and open that up. This is, again, I mentioned this is the exact same slide deck that you see Chris using when he's trading in the invitation-only afternoon live streams or in the recordings. And in here, you get all of his slides. And he's talking about position sizing. And this is the exact formula that he is using. Or if he's talking about options liquidity criteria, there's a formula in here where he is, then this is a really recent change to his plan where he's considering 10% max bid-ask spread. And here's the formula for that calculation. So yeah, definitely make sure that you have these decks. I actually leave these open. I have my outlier windows open. Like I'll have the market breadth open. I'll have another tab that is the dashboard. I'll leave that open. And another one I leave open is that slide deck, because I don't need to remember. I just need to know where to get the information. And so I also get the emergency exit. So what is a 3 ATR stop, and what do I do when it shows up? What if I'm getting near an order block? How do I behave if I'm getting near an order block and I'm somebody that can watch charts during the day? This is something that you would want to follow. And what is the backtesting data? What does it look like to have an edge? All that stuff is stored right in this slide deck. So again, how did you get here? FAQ and member contributions, and then the outlier trading plans. So let's cover another piece here inside Discord that you're going to want to be aware of. We have what I call the training grounds. And you have playlists in here. You have the welcome to Outlier here. This is a great one to reference for new customers, because the first post you see is my suggestions for where to start. So I would say the first video to start with is your first trend trading steps with Outlier. So you can click right in here. And then start your trend trading journey with a Launchpad video by clicking here. Then you have the how-to guides. These are the same how-to guides that I mentioned early in this live stream. This is this playlist right here. Let's go ahead and open it up. We're putting in lots of new videos here, right? The first 4, which have a red background, those are like you're getting ready, right? You're starting to put a foundation under you. You're finding out how to get to the user guide and how to access Discord, how to verify, how to get to training videos. And then you get to the blue section. The blue section is about using the dashboard itself. So every one of these videos is going to be explaining the dashboard. Now, these are in edit. A lot of these are in edit, and so they haven't been published yet. And so when you go to this playlist, every day you're going to see more and more of these added as we get them published. So I think maybe right now you're going to see all the reds and 2 of the blues, or maybe 3 of the blues. But you'll see more of those added as the days here go by right in front of us in the 3rd week of March. All right. Do we have any other questions? Okay, cool. So another Discord resource is the training room chat. Here you'll find folks like Greg. Greg is with us. He's a brand new user. And he said just today, he said, I am very new. How do I calculate ATR? Well, there's a ton of resources on how to calculate ATR, and those resources in a lot of cases come right from Chris's mouth or from mine or from DT, or you see the Alpha and Bravo students in their entirety talk about ATR. So I've listed for him, look, this is how I think you should start. Maybe ATR is not where you should start. Head over here and watch the videos in succession. But since you specifically asked about ATR, this is where I would look. I would look in the Alpha playlist, and these 4 videos all mention ATR, or look in the Bravo list, and these 2 videos mention ATR, or look in the Stock and Options Trading Guidance playlist, and these 2 videos specifically mention ATR. So when someone asks a question and I catch the question, I typically tell you where to get the answer. Now, that's important compared to just giving you the answer, because you're going to know how to get it when you forget. And you're also going to hear from a professional trader, right? Chris is going to tell you from his nearly 20 years of experience, what on earth is ATR? Why do I care about it? And what do I do when it changes? So you'll be able to watch those videos as much as you want. And then I also went on to say, look, you're probably trying to set up your charts. If that's what you're trying to do, here's a couple of videos that will help you set up your charts. Specifically, the one that I've mentioned to this audience a few times. Set up your outlier charts like the pros. That's a really good one. You're definitely going to want to catch that video. And so come into this channel, this training room chat channel. Feel free to ask questions, especially if they are outlier program focused questions, or there's something you heard Chris talk about. We'll try to answer them here. If you have more generalized questions, a great place to go is the general chat channel. Tons and tons of folks mention things in here, and a lot of times they're sharing ideas of how they are trading in here, so it's a good one to pay attention to. And there's a couple more for you to be aware of. The live stream links channel. This is where you see April paste in the links to the both daily videos. She says, look, you're going to want to catch us 8 a.m. Central Time. So if you're on the East Coast, that'd be 9 a.m. And she gives you the date, and she gives you the topic, and she gives you the link. And then the invitation-only trading room, this is where you get those links. So all outliers would access the invitation-only trading room through these links. And then they'll try to post in any future sessions that you would want to be aware of. Like, for instance, the Victor Nealon one, and I think there's another one. Yeah, maybe there isn't. But Chris will give you some content about, things he knows that are going on. Like, look, we're going to have a change to the 3:16 video. So instead of being at 2 p.m. Central, it's going to be immediately after the morning live stream. So you would get that notification, before it actually happens. And we will have more of these launch pads. The links are always included in the same place that April and Chris put their live stream links, which is the live-stream-links channel. And you'll see those in here. And I try to give you the time zone, the date, and a reference to market open, because time zones can be kind of complex, right? I know we have a Bravo student who's in New Zealand, and it can be a little more complex in that case to understand the time zones, because you have an hour difference plus a date difference, right? So I always try to say, look, an hour and a half after the stock market opens is when you would want to be in this session. And I also try to indicate where the recording is going to go. Anthony has a question. And let's show this again. If you want to type in a question, use the show chat button in the top right of your screen and type it in. If you want to be added to the stage because you have a microphone and camera, you can raise your hand. And if you raise your hand, William and I will get a notification. We will invite you, and then you will have to accept the invitation. All right. Anthony's question. Can you explain the difference between Trading Plan M, slide 12, slide 37, slide 18? Okay. I know I have that open already. Slide 12. Slide 12. Slide 12 are exit signals. So this would seem to be what Chris would need to do if he's in a trade. Okay. The first thing Chris does is get risk off the table. He needs to go see if any of his existing trades need to be adjusted. So he's going to hop down here to slide 12. This would mean he's in a Plan M trade, which of course he isn't right now, but let's say he is. He's going to look through the signals one by one by one. And if you want to see Chris trading the signals, you just hop over to the Outlier training playlist and look for Watch a Pro Trade Stocks. Watch a Pro Trade Stocks for both ETF and Plan M. Okay, so he's going to go step by step through these signals, and then for each of his trades, he's going to act if any of these signals tells him to act. Okay, now if I go to slide 37, some folks are saying they lost audio. Can you hop over to the chat and tell me if you can hear my voice? Just use the show chat button. Okay, audio is good. Perfect. All right, so the next slide that Anthony would like to review is slide 37. Let's go to slide 37. Well, these two should be identical. So let me do a quick flip here. I see no change. So, okay, so Chris has slide 12 show up first because what he's trying to say is the first thing you do is get rid of risk, okay? So as you're going step by step through the slides, the first thing you need to do is get rid of risk. So slide 37 is a duplicate. And it is a duplicate because he has a whole Plan M section starting with slide 28, okay? So this would kind of reiterate to you that, look, if you're in Plan M, you really need to get risk off the table if it needs to come off the table. All right, and then you're asking about slide 18. Slide 18, these are entries. Okay, so let's think about this in order. Chris starts his trading session. It's in the afternoons. He goes slide 1 all the way down through the end of the slides, right? And he gets to, look, if I need to exit, I need to exit. So he's working through those. And now he says, I want to see if Plan M can be traded. And why? Well, because Plan M is the most profitable plan. Okay. He wants to trade Plan M anytime he possibly can trade Plan M. Let me just invite Skinny Buff Guy back. I think he had to restart. Okay, so he says, I want to trade Plan M anytime I can. If I can't, I'm going to trade Plan ETF because there's still an opportunity to make profit there. If neither of these can be traded, I'm going to sit in cash. For Chris, that means trading SGov because his broker does not support a return. You know, there's no percentage of return for sitting in cash with Tradier. Some brokers have it. Tradier doesn't. So he will throw his money in SGov. Okay. So now he's in Plan M and he's trying to see if he can trade it. So he's going through his market signals from left to right, top to bottom. He bounces through these, right? So the first thing he does is he tries to look at SPY and see if there's a bullish trend. And he tries to see if there's a buy signal. And then he looks at the SPY fear and greed heat map. Is it under 70 and rising? And then he looks at full stocks breadth, right? And if he gets through this whole column for market, then he looks for sectors. And if he gets through this whole column for sectors and he finds some that are giving an opportunity to trade, then he moves over to stocks. And that approach is why he says he can trade in 10 minutes a day, right? Because if he looks through his market signals and he finds any of them that don't allow a trade, he moves on. He doesn't care what the sectors are doing. He doesn't care what the stocks are doing, because the market, being 40% of the potential move, is telling him, look, don't get in. Okay, so if he doesn't make it through market, he's going to go to Plan ETF. And he's going to review the signals for ETF, Plan ETF. So he's going to look for an uptrend in Q. And if that doesn't exist, he's going to look for an uptrend in SPY. If that does exist, he's going to drop through all these signals until he finds one that says don't trade. If that doesn't happen and all his signals say get in, he's going to trade a leveraged ETF, SPXL, based on SPY. You don't have to. You don't have to trade a leveraged ETF. It adds risk in an effort to add potential profits, right? But you could trade Plan ETF simply by buying SPY shares. You certainly could. Lots of people do it. Okay, so let's see. Did I capture all the slides that you mentioned? Yes. And so let me know if that helps, Anthony. Okay, good. You did mention that you're good to go. Now, you want to see stepping through these signals, right? Don't forget that you can watch this video called Watch a Pro Trade Stocks, Plan ETF and Plan M, where Chris literally goes through those steps. Okay, and sometimes that happens. I don't know why. Maybe it's only my YouTube. But let's see here. It sent us back to the home page for Outlier Training with Joe. And now I want to find that video. I'm going to go to playlists. I'm going to go to Outlier Training and then pop down to Watch a Pro Trade Stocks. And then we're going to say, let's see. What if we wanted to look at Plan ETF? We could just hop here to about the 17-minute mark. What if we wanted to learn about Plan M? Well, that starts right at the beginning. And it starts with what I just showed you. The Outlier slide deck, SPY, trend, and signal. So I could pop right in here at the 1 minute 50 mark. And then you'll see step by step Chris trading the signals. He says, I'm going to go and look at SPY for a buy signal. And he sees that. And if you're watching that video, you can tell that I'm talking. So I am doing the same exact thing I'm doing now, where I'm saying, why did Chris go to the watch list? Why is he looking at SPY? And what is he hoping to see? So definitely hop into that video. And again, I apologize for the audio there. It's got a bit of an echo on Chris's side, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to fix it. All right. Do we have any other questions, William?
We did have one or two here. Stocky Locky is trying to help us out. He said, I don't know if you answered this when I lost my audio, but he asked, do you enter your trade at the start, during, or end of the day, and why? Okay. And then how do you prioritize stocks within Outlier?
Okay, gotcha. All right. Let's see. See if we have a video focused on the time of day. Just give me, here we go. Let's look at this one. So in the stock and options trading playlist, we have a Q&A video. It's called Your Stock Trend Trading Questions Answered, right here. And you can hear from Chris his opinion on the time of day to trade. Okay? Time of day to trade and emergency exits. So you can hear from him his opinion on the time of day. Now, we know as Outlier customers who have been here a bit, we know that he trades in the afternoon. So approximately, what would it be, 2 p.m. Central, he trades. And if you're a customer, you can watch him trade by going to live-stream-links, and you can look for April's posts for trading rooms. Okay, you can watch him trade while he's trading. And so he does in the afternoon. And so what do? Well, it depends on the situation. I like to have a pretty good plan in focus before the afternoon. I'm a person who plans for the sake of planning sometimes. So I do a lot of determining what I'm going to do throughout the day. And so if I come in the morning session and I'm looking at SPY because it's giving me an idea of what the market is doing, and I see that it's clearly trending down, I pretty much know that I'm not going to do anything, because the signals are telling me the price is probably going to keep decreasing, right? So when these trend lines are set up in this fashion where the 10 is under the 20, the trend is not going in my favor. And the price way down here is below the 50. Again, the trend is not going in my favor. So I know pretty much right off the bat that I'm not going to be trading. But let's say it was completely the opposite. The price was way up here. The lines are where they need to be. And I have looked through all of the signals. For instance, if I'm following the Outlier Plan M, I've looked through all these signals and everything looks good. I've even gotten to the point where I found a stock that I'm interested in. And maybe even I found an options contract that I'm interested in that meet the liquidity criteria. I'm going to jot that down. Okay, and then I'm going to go to SPY, and I'm going to make sure that the trend at the moment that I am interested in buying is also going the way I want it to go. So this is something you won't see Chris do, but this is what I do. I go to the 5-minute chart. I wait till at least a half hour into the trading day, because we've heard many pro traders say they don't trade the first 30 minutes. So I'm going to wait till at least this candle, and I'm going to look at my trends. Again, if the trend is up, I'll probably take that trade in the morning. It'll be the correct position size. It'll be the correct options contract, and everything will be lined up, and potentially that price is going to keep going. Now, if I get in there at 10 o'clock and the trend is down, I'm going to wait. I'm not going to get in while I'm watching the price go down. I don't like that. I don't like the horse sitting in the gate or backing up. I like to see that that price is moving in the direction that I hope it to go. So I'll wait, right? And then maybe check at midday, or I get to the afternoon. Now this is where I've got to make a decision. Am I going to trade my plan? Okay. If the trend is well established, even if the 5-minute trend is down, I'm going to take it, because my plan is based on daily candles. All of the signals in Plan M are daily candles for entry, right? And if I don't trade my plan, I don't have a plan, okay? So I only use this 5-minute concept during the day until I get to the afternoon. Now, like I said, you do not have to do that. You don't see Chris do that. It's something that I personally did based on my emotional ability to accept a trade that's going the wrong direction. I don't like it. I will wait until the end of the day to hope that thing is going the right way when I'm going to go trade it. So that's my answer. William, do you have anything to add to that question?
You know, the only thing that I would add, Joe, you always explain everything so thoroughly. I appreciate you, man. I hope everybody else does too. Chris does trade at the end of the day, but the one thing that he preaches constantly is personal agency, coming up with your own plan. Now, a lot of us are beginners, and maybe we're not comfortable trading our own plan, or we're still in the works of trying to develop a plan for ourselves. In the meantime, we're using Chris's. If that's the case and you're copy trading, you're certainly open to do that. But one thing you should be doing is logging some data so that you can back test and determine whether or not that is the right time of day for you to trade. And there are people who do trade in the first hour of the day because there is a lot of volatility there. So they can take advantage of that if they're scalping or day trading. Being that we're swing trading, I personally try to trade the last hour or two of the day as well, as time permits. But I'm open to that. It just depends on what my schedule is. So I think that, just having consistency and setting aside a specific time of day that works for you is probably more important than trying to figure out what the best minute of the day is.
Yeah, well said. Well said. So I'm going to close that topic by saying, if you start looking at 5-minute candles, whether it be for the example I gave you or for the example of Plan M exits related order blocks, if you're doing this or what I just mentioned to you, make sure you change your chart back to daily. Because again, all those signals are based on day candles. If you leave it at 5 and you start making plan decisions on the wrong period candle, you're not trading your plan. So pop that back over to daily so that your candles are representing days if your plan is based on day candles. All right, do we have any last questions?
We have one more. Does Outlier only trade bullish rather than puts too? Asked by Kokomon.
Yeah, currently Outlier is used when the trend is moving up. So you see Chris doing long calls, which means he is anticipating the price to increase. Well, to continue increasing is important. He's not trying to guess where the bottom is. He's not trying to force the market. He's trying to ride the trend. So you're not going to see him trade unless the trend is going the way that he wants it to go. So he's not going to buy a long call, or he's not going to buy shares of any ETF unless the trend is already moving up. Now, in the future, Outlier will have signals for bearish trades, so buying puts. You'll never see him, well, as of today, you will never see him sell options. I would be amazed if we ever see him sell options. There's so many reasons not to sell options. However, you can buy puts. If you think the price is going to continue dropping, you can buy puts. I've only seen Chris buy one put, and it was approximately January 2025. The video is on his YouTube channel. I don't remember which video it is, unfortunately. Probably the title has something to do with puts or, stock price going down or something. So you can watch him trade a put, but very, very, very uncommon.
One thing I want to clarify for those who are new as well is the Outlier platform gives the buy and sell signals. These are, again, a long call strategy. It's not a shorting strategy. So when you see a sell signal, that it does not mean it's time to go short. Chris has actually stated before that through back testing, the expectancy is actually negative if you're using the sell signals to go short. So do not do that. That is just to close out your long positions.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So here's your sell signals versus your buy signals. So when you hear William mention those, that's what he's talking about. Okay, well, we've gone quite a bit over our typical hour run here. So don't forget, if you want to catch this recording, you're going to look in the Outlier Trading with Joe playlist right here, 03 Outlier Training. And you're going to find it here. There'll be a 003. It'll mention lesson session 3, and then it'll have today's date. So check that most likely tomorrow again, because YouTube does have a bit of a delay while they look through the videos for copyrighted content and things of that nature. So, but thanks everyone for coming. I appreciate it, and we will do another one of these in the near future. And so thanks for bringing your questions, and thanks for making it. All right, William, we'll catch you later.
All right, thank you.